Close your eyes and picture a beach. The blue water, the sand, the light. You just did that instantly, effortlessly. You saw it without seeing anything. Now here's the question that's quietly unsettling. What happens in that same moment inside the mind of someone who has been blind their entire life? Someone who has never seen the color blue, never seen light, never seen a single face, and then falls asleep in dreams. Does their dream go dark and silent? Or is there something in there? And if so, what does it look like to a mind that has never seen? The answer forces open one of the deepest questions in all of neuroscience, whether you can see something you have never seen. And scientists have actually tested it. So let's go inside the dreaming mind of a blind person and find out what's really there, because it is not the emptiness you'd expect. First, we have to clear up the question everyone asks, because the framing itself is wrong. People ask, do blind people dream? And the answer is simply, yes, of course they do, and just as vividly as you. Dreaming is not a visual event that happens to come with sound. Dreaming is your brain replaying and remixing experience, and vision is only one ingredient. So the real question was never whether blind people dream. It's what their dreams are made of, what raw material a mind reaches for when the visual channel isn't there. And to answer that, you have to split blind people into two very different groups, because their dream worlds are not the same at all. The first group is people who could once see, and lost their sight later in life. And here the finding is strangely beautiful. These people keep seeing in their dreams, for years. Someone who went blind at 20 can dream in full, vivid color at 40, walking through visual worlds their waking eyes can no longer reach. Their brain still holds the visual library it built, and every night it opens it back up. But researchers found something bittersweet inside this. The longer a person has been blind, the more the visual richness of their dreams slowly fades. The images get dimmer, less frequent, less detailed as the years go on. It's as if the mind's visual memory has a slow half-life. For a while, the dreaming world is the one place they can still see the faces of the people they love. And then, gradually, even that begins to dissolve. But that group still had something to work with. They have a visual library to draw from. Which brings us to the far stranger case, the one that actually breaks your brain to think about. What about someone born blind? Someone who has never, not once, seen anything at all? No light, no color, no shape? What could their dreams possibly be made of? To find out, scientists did the obvious thing. They had blind people keep detailed dream diaries, recording every sensation the moment they woke, over weeks, and the results were remarkable. The dreams of people born blind are not empty. They are absolutely flooded with sensation, just not the one you'd expect. In one major study, the dreams of blind participants overflowed with sound. Around 86% involved hearing, compared to about 64% for sighted people. Touch was everywhere. Roughly 70% reported physical sensations in their dreams, textures and temperatures and contact, versus about 45% of the sighted. They tasted food. They smelled things. Smell showed up in their dreams at roughly double the rate it does in yours. Think about what that means. Where your dream builds a world out of pictures, a blind person's dream builds the exact same world out of sound, touch, taste, and smell. They dream of walking through a market, and it's the roar of voices, the warmth of the sun, the smell of bread, the brush of a shoulder against theirs. It isn't a lesser dream. It's a differently built one, arguably a fuller, more full-bodied one than yours. And here's a haunting detail buried in that same research. People born blind reported significantly more nightmares than sighted people. Scientists think this might reflect something real and difficult. The dreaming mind rehearsing the genuine threats of navigating a world you cannot see. Getting lost, losing your guide, a sudden danger you can't detect coming. Their nightmares may be their brain doing exactly its job, drilling for dangers that, for them, are terrifyingly real. Hold on to that idea, that a dream is the brain practicing, because it's about to matter. So blind people dream, and the born blind dream in a storm of non-visual sensation. That seems like a clean answer. But it isn't the end. Because there's one question we've been circling, and it's the one that genuinely divides scientists to this day. When a person born blind dreams, is there any visual experience in there at all? Can a brain that has never once received an image somehow still produce one? For a long time, the answer seemed obvious. No, you cannot dream of what you have never seen. A person born blind has no visual memories, so there is nothing for a dream to show. Case closed. And then a study came along that cracked that certainty wide open. A team of researchers led by Helder Bertolo did something clever. They took people who had been blind since birth, woke them during the night, asked them to describe their dreams, and then asked them to draw them. And the blind participants drew their dreams. They put pen to paper and produced spatial, structured pictures of what they had just experienced, drawings that, remarkably, were comparable to those made by sighted people. But the researchers went further, because a drawing alone could be argued with. They recorded the electrical activity of the brain during sleep, watching a specific signal, alpha waves, which drop in strength when the visual parts of the brain switch on. And in the born blind, during dreams they reported as visual, that visual brain activity appeared. The same signature you'd see in a sighted person having a visual dream. The occipital cortex, the brain's visual center, was firing. Let that land. A brain that had never in its life received a single image from the eyes was, during dreaming, generating something that behaved like vision. Now, I have to be honest because this is genuinely contested. Other studies have found no visual imagery in the born blind at all, and many scientists argue that what's really happening is spatial, not visual, a sense of layout and shape and position, not literal pictures. The debate is still open, and honest researchers admit we don't fully know. But the very fact that it's a real debate is the astonishing part. It means the question, can you see something you've never seen, does not have the obvious no we all assumed. And this points at something profound about what vision even is. Because here's the twist the science keeps circling back to. Seeing may not actually happen in your eyes. When a person born blind loses the input from their eyes, their brain doesn't leave that visual real estate empty and dark. It rewires it. The visual cortex of a blind person gets recruited to process sound, touch, and language at a level far beyond a sighted person's. It's part of why the blind so often have extraordinary hearing and memory. They are, in a sense, seeing with their other senses, through the very same brain hardware you use for your eyes. So when they dream, that repurposed visual machinery may still fire, still build a world, just from different raw material. Your eyes were never really the thing that saw. Your eyes were just the camera. The seeing always happened in the dark, inside your skull, which is exactly where a dream happens too. So, what do blind people actually see in their dreams? Someone who lost their sight sees a slowly fading memory of the visible world, holding on to faces for as long as their mind will let them. Someone born blind experiences a world built from everything except light, sound, texture, warmth, taste, a felt sense of space so complete it may light up the visual brain anyway. Their dreams were never dark and empty. They were full the whole time. We just assumed that a world without pictures had to be a world without anything to see. It turns out the mind has more than one way to show you something. And maybe that's the real thing hiding in here, that what you call seeing is only one language your brain speaks for something much bigger. If this changed how you think about your own dreams, tell me in the comments. Do you think you could dream up a color you've never seen? I read them all. Subscribe if you want more of the mind explained properly, and I'll see you in the next one.